Welcome to Soweto. Welcome to Soweto. Welcome to Soweto. Welcome to Soweto. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela.
Wow, guys, today straight to Nelson Mandela House. We're going to be seeing Nelson Mandela House. We are seeing FM.
Everybody say!
The taste of Soweto in my mind today is very exciting. Like, I just want to see this place today and see what people have been talking so much about. Like, a lot have been talking about Soweto. One of the most popular places around South Africa.
To be anything between 2 to 3 million people who call Soweto home. Is actually what we want people to experience when they come to Soweto. So that's why
Soweto was created in the 1930s and became the largest black city in South Africa. It's also famous to be the home of Lucky Dube, Chaka Chaka, Soweto No, Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu.
Welcome to Soweto. Soweto, welcome to Soweto. Welcome to Soweto. Welcome to Mandela. Welcome to my family. Welcome to Soweto. Welcome to my name is Sheikh. I live in a Sheikh. I might be black of a six-pack. Soweto. Welcome to Soweto. Welcome to Mandela. Welcome to Osho, Sholo, Asho, Sholo, Yeye, Bole Suntaba. Soweto. Welcome to Soweto, welcome to Soweto, welcome to Mandela, welcome to my family from US, welcome to Soweto, welcome to my name is Czech, I live in a shack, I might be black of a six-pack. Soweto, welcome to Soweto, welcome to Mandela, welcome to where?
Guys, we're now entering at Nelson Mandela House. This is a fence on my right hand, and right in front is the Mandela Family Restaurant. Guys, apparently here at Nelson Mandela we're not allowed to take videos, but some sort of clips and kind of photos can be taken. I'm really very happy to get myself inside here. For it says, wow, this is the house that Mandela lived in with his family from 1946 to 1962. The whole house just speaks of him. You see the manuscripts, how they arrange, they just speaks of him. It is something that is so speaking and draws a lot of respect. You know, this is an historical house. I just love what I'm seeing around. It brings some sense of excitement, but also mixed with bitterness that sometimes come that, you know, burns inside of us after knowing much of his stories. You know, the arrangement of the house alone draws your attention of the historical backgrounds of the apartheid, you know. You see, one thing I've just seen about this house is that it reminds us of the old things that we need to have been knowing. And that visiting this house just reminds you, imagine seeing even Mandela's bed today. You know, what does it leave you with when you visit this place? Like, seriously. Wow, this is an historical visit. Now, the house itself has become a museum in South Africa, attracting so many people coming around to see and experience with themselves the historical narratives of apartheid. It's very nice and very important to visit this place. You'll see around, people comes out to see the house. The house is way too nice to visit because you now here get connected with different people that comes from all over the world.
ngimlahle mama somlahle ngeke ngimlahle abanye bamlahle ngeke ngimlahle mama somlahle ngeke ngimlahle abanye bamlahle ngeke ngimlahle
Nelson Mandela originally lived in this house for 15 years, but when he came back from prison, he only stayed for 11 days because he had no privacy due to the media. And during the apartheid years or the apartheid times, police shot a lot from this direction to terrorize or threaten Mamawi. Nelson Mandela was the first one to attend school in his family. At the age of 7 years, Nelson Mandela attended a primary school near the village of Kumu.
She's good.
So it's where he was given the name Nelson by his teachers because they couldn't pronounce his African name. Woo! And he believes he was named after a great British admiral named Lord Nelson. His African name is Kholisasa. So Kholisasa means pulling a branch of a tree, or simply translated to troublemaker. And he lived up to his name. Nelson Mandela moved to Johannesburg, avoiding an arranged marriage. And here in Johannesburg, he rented a shack in a township called Alexandra. Worked as a security guard at the mines, and he later worked as an article clerk at a law firm. It's where he met his mentor, Walter Sisulu. 1961, Nelson Mandela formed the Umkhonto weSizwe, meaning the spear of the nation. It's a military wing to the ANC, and he was appointed the commander-in-chief. 1962, Nelson Mandela traveled to different African countries for his military training. And on his way back, he was arrested in a town called Howick in Pietermaritzburg. And he was sentenced for 5 years for leaving South Africa using a fake passport and for organizing strikes. And while he was in prison, apartheid police raided their headquarters in Rivonia in a farm called Lily's Leaf. And there they found documents with Nelson Mandela's handwriting. Nelson Mandela, together with 9 others, were put on trial in what became known as the Rivonia trial. And they were sentenced to life imprisonment for treason. So Nelson Mandela was sentenced to 27 years in prison. But he stayed in 3 different prisons. The first prison was Robben Island, of which he stayed the longest day, from 1964 to 1982, which was 18 years. Second prison was Paul Small Prison, and the last prison was Victor Verster Prison. And while he was in Victor Verster Prison, it's when he began negotiations with P.W. Botha and F.W. de Klerk, last 2 apartheid presidents. And Mr. de Klerk decided to release him on the 11th of February 1990. Nelson Mandela originally lived in this house for 15 years, but when he came back from prison, he only stayed for 11 days because he had no privacy due to the media. So when he moved to the other side of Soweto, just over a rocky hillside known as the Beverly Hills of Soweto. And then Nelson Mandela married 3 wives, but separately. The first wife was Evelyn, and with Evelyn they were married for 12 years. The second wife is Winnie Madikizela Mandela, and with Winnie they have 2 daughters together. Their names are Zenani and Zinziso.
Guys, I want to say a big shout out to Randy Atlas for such a very beautiful story of Nelson Mandela's home. Thank you.
Then the third wife is Gracia Machel. And Gracia Machel is a very special lady. She's even well known in the Guinness Book of World Records for marrying 2 presidents. So, the first husband was Samora Machel, who was the president of Mozambique. And the second husband was Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, who was the first president of a democratic South Africa. So ladies and gentlemen, please bring me the manuscripts from the book Long Walk to Freedom. Nelson Mandela wrote the book in 1975 while he was in
Wow, what a beautiful story from Rand the Atlas at Nelson Mandela's home, narrating all the story from his time in Soweto until he left Soweto to jail until he returned. Thank you so much, guys. Paying a visit to Mandela's house and this area in particular of the Soweto uprising of 1976 really puts a paint and puts something right in your mind how evil this apartheid thing was, and this should never and ever to have gotten its chance in South Africa, in this land. For sure, these photos alone gives you and leaves you with the image of something so painful. At the memorial site of Soweto uprising, here comes a photo of Pearson Hector carried by Mbushia with the sister alongside them after being shot dead by the police in 1976. It's a clear reminder of how deadly these people and this system was. But of course, it is something that should be reminded and should live remembering. Now today you come and visit the place, it has itself becomes a memorial site. Look, you can't say you have visited Nelson Mandela's house before reaching here. You also need to get time and get to this place.
Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela, Nelson Mandela. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Zubilanga. Nebes kulofa sokusha. Uzuye wakijimi boys. Boys sama sawe nilale aphe. Akijimi boys. Boys sama sawe nilale aphe. Sholoza. Sholoza. Umezutaba. Sholoza. Umezutaba. Awunu ya malenga, ulezundaba simela. Awunu ya malenga, ulezundaba simela. Sholoza, ulezundaba simela. Sholoza, ulezundaba.